Hello everyone, welcome back to the Data Monk. Today in this video, we are going to discuss a very important topic, normalization. We are going to understand what is first normal form and second normal form in this video. Alright, so let's get started. So what is normalization? It is simply the process of organizing data in the database so that there is no data redundancy. What is that? That is repetition of data in a relation and the data integrity is also maintained. How we can achieve that? There are various normal forms like 1NF, 2NF, 3NF and BCNF. The motive for all of them is the same, that is dividing larger tables into smaller tables and linking them. So in this video, we are going to cover 1NF and 2NF. Alright? Moving ahead, let us start with first normal form. The rule for 1NF is that each attribute or column should contain single value. That is, it should be atomic. There can't be any multi-valued attributes in our table. Let me show you what I'm trying to say with an example. Consider we have this placement table which has attributes ID, name and company placed. Now here if you see, Rohan has been placed in two companies, that is Infosys and Deloitte, and so is Anubhav in Google and Facebook. If you see, we have multiple values in the column company placed. So this column, this table is not in 1NF because it has multi-value attributes, which is what we can't have if you want a table in 1NF. Now let's try converting our table into 1NF. There could be few ways to do that. First way, we could repeat the names and put companies in separate cells. How? Just see, look at this first table. I have uh, put names into different rows, and now if you see, we don't have any repeated values. Right? Here each record is unique now. Next, what we can do is we can divide the company attribute into company 1 and company 2. So if you see, we have now Rohan, we have company 1 Infosys and company 2 Deloitte. For Sarah, we have company 1 Amazon. Now in the company 2, as there's no value, so by default it would show null. But consider here that what if Rohan is placed in say 6 companies and Sarah is placed in one company. So there will be a lot of null values. We'll create a lot of columns, company 1, company 2, company 3, company 4. But in the second tuple there will be a lot of null values. So this isn't the ideal representation because there will be a lot of null values in the table, and we obviously don't want that because it will be very confusing for anyone to access the data. So for that, we can represent it in one more way, which is dividing the table into two. What we have done is, we have created one table which has ID and name, and we have created another table which has ID and companies. Now if you see, all the values are unique and there are no multi-valued attribute. Also, we can link these tables together because ID is acting as a primary key in the first table and it is acting as our foreign key in the second table. So this foreign key can link us back to the first table with the help of the primary key. I hope you are clear with the concept of keys. If not, just please watch the keys video so that you have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about here. So these are three ways how you can convert a table into 1NF. This is the most ideal representation where we are using the concept of primary key and foreign key to link two tables together. Alright, now moving on to second normal form. Before we understand 2NF, I want you to know what is partial dependency. In bookish language, when a non-prime attribute is functionally dependent on part of candidate key. Let me explain you that with an example. Consider we have three attributes. We have three columns in a table and say the combination of these two columns A B gives me a unique value C. Okay, so for a given value of AB I'll get a unique C. So basically AB is a key, right? Together it is giving me a unique tuple. So this AB is my key. Now consider that B is also giving me the same value C. Okay, so a part of my key, B is part of this AB key, right? So the part of a key is giving me the same unique value C. Now this is what you call as partial dependency, because part of my key is giving me a non-prime attribute, and we don't want that. Why? Because this is the reason why we face the problem of data redundancy. We get repeated values in a table because of this partial dependency. When AB is giving me C, or when B is directly giving me C, why do we need this grouping, or why do we need B individually, right? We don't want this concept of partial dependency in our relations. So here comes the concept of 2NF. For a relation to be in 2NF, it has to follow two rules. The first rule is that the relation should be in 1NF, and the second rule is there should be no partial dependency. And now you know that why, right? So, to understand this, let us consider this example. We have a table with student ID, subject code, student name, and subject. Here the non-prime attributes, that is the student name and subject are non-prime attributes, right? They are not giving me any unique value. These both are dependent on student ID and subject code respectively, right? So they are basically partially dependent. They're partially dependent, and this violates our rule of 2NS. So how we are going to resolve that? We are going to decompose our table into two. So if you see, we have created one table which has student ID, subject code, student name, and then we have created another table which has subject code and subject. Alright, now our relation is in 2NF as there is no partial dependency, and the relation also follows the rule of 1NF, that is, there are no multiple values, right? So this is how you can easily convert your table into 2NF. It is following our 1NF rule also, and it is not showing any partial dependency. I hope I was able to clear the concept for 1NF and 2NF in this video. Just remember the key rules of each normal form, and you'll be able to convert any table that is given to you into first normal form or second normal form as required. All you need to do is decompose the table, understand the concept of partial dependency, and divide your table accordingly. So in the next video, we are going to talk about 3NF and BCNF and how you can turn your relations into the same. So this is to be continued. Keep watching.